Okay, I'm reading notes for Mr. Hammer. Let's put this a little higher here. Reading notes for Mr. Hammer. Let's get going. Ready? He killed himself. He committed suicide. He had been really depressed for 2 months. He has been clinically depressed for 2 months. He had been clinically depressed. Clinically depressed is a kind of a medical level of depression. Okay, the doctor decides you're depressed. Not just some levels of depression are normal. Everyone's depressed to some extent, but clinically depressed is super depressed, and you need a doctor. He had not come to the office since January. He had been absent from class. We cannot say he had been absent from the office. That's incorrect. We don't use absent for office. He had been seeing a doctor and he had been seeing a therapist. He had been taking medicine, or he had been taking medication, or he had been taking antidepressants. Antidepressants or antidepressants are drugs for people who suffer from depression. So an antidepressant drug is a koutsuyaku. This Wednesday, he threw himself into the Kusogawa River, or this Wednesday, he jumped into the Kisogawa River. Then I asked your kid, family. I was asking you, did he have any kids? Or did he have a family? The next day, he was found on the shores of the Kisogawa River. The Kiso River is in Ichinomiya. His face and probably his face and body were swollen. To swell is hareru, or hareteru. Hareteru. The wake is tonight. Wake is otsuya. The Kiso River is under the jurisdiction of the national government. Jurisdiction is the area that you have a right to, you have authority in. If an American policeman is chasing a criminal and the criminal goes to Mexico, the American policeman has no more jurisdiction. Okay. We maintain smaller rivers. We deal with smaller rivers. Since the Koizumi administration, suicide rates have been high, or suicide rates have been on the rise, or suicide rates have gone up. On the rise is go up. Divorce among the young is on the rise in Japan. You asked me about giving money at funerals. I'll just read you what we have here. I will read this. In terms of giving money, there are two schools of thought. A school of thought is a way of thinking. It was once common for close friends and family members to give money to a family when someone died. This practice existed in part because handling all the details of death can be expensive, and loved ones often contributed to defray the cost. I think it's perfectly fine to do so today, if you are discreet. Yet some experts consider it unseemly to give money unless a charity has been named in lieu of flowers, or something similar, or if the family has indicated a need for financial support. To defray the cost is to lessen the cost. You say futan suru or hio shiharau. This money will go towards defraying the cost of the trip. Please be discreet. When you give money at a funeral, you should try to be discreet. It means don't show everybody, just be discreet. Okay, vocabulary that we need for funerals are a death, the deceased, the dead person, awake, a funeral director or a mortician, the undertaker, a casket or coffin, that's the kanoke. When you embalm a body, you treat a body so it looks okay for presentation at the funeral, during the viewing. A grave. Maggie's over there. A grave. Mag, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? Okay. A grave. A tombstone a headstone, and a gravestone. Kaso suru is cremate, and the noun is cremation. The average funeral costs about $6,000 to $10,000, and I have here a list of the things you have to pay for. You have a fee for the funeral director's services. You have a cost of the casket. You have the embalming fee. You have cost for the use of the funeral home or the actual funeral services. You have the cost of the gravesite. You have the cost to dig the grave. You have cost of grave liner or outer burial container. And you have the cost of a headstone. We talked about Toyoda, Mr. Toyoda, Akio Toyoda, and we said he looks weak, or he looks like a wimp, or he looks like a pansy, or a sissy, or a weakling. He cried a little at the news conference. Some people sympathized with him more. Most Japanese don't like to see public displays of emotion. This comes from Bushido. The continental people of China conquered the aboriginal Japanese people. A tomb is a room for a grave. We talked about conquering. I'm not sure why we talked about that. Anyway, then we learned a new word, subtle. Example sentences: they communicated in a subtle way. There is a subtle difference between talk to and talk with. I want to communicate in a meaningful way, and I want to be able to have deep conversations. Okay, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday. Mr. Hammer.